This meeting is being recorded, so be good. All right. Welcome, everybody. This is the 11 o'clock class on Friday, and we are using book number 15, Simple Songs. Simple Songs. This is considered a level 3 class, okay? So we're going to start doing some arranging. We're still, just like level 1 and 2, getting comfortable with where our fingers go to make the song sound pretty. But I'm going to start adding a new chord or two. And as always, you can learn them or not. If you feel like learning something new and want to push yourself, it's there for you. If you don't feel like you're ready for the extra stuff, don't even worry about it. Just use what's here. The most important thing that we're going to learn in level 3, besides where our fingers go, is how to start putting these songs on our instruments to make them sound pretty, to start being able to make arrangements using what the instrument already has. Not like the advanced classes where I'm going to make you push this, change this, memorize this. Just what is here. Lowry has made everything so easy and esty that all you have to do is push a style setup or a rhythm preset and everything comes up perfectly for you. Or a song setup. Now, I have been putting on Patreon these worksheets. I hope they're being helpful for you. I hope they're helpful for you. So,
Wonderful. Thank you. We
you're
appreciate it.
welcome. You're very welcome. And I will always put up two, this week's and next week's. So I'll always be putting up two. And I know that confused Robert for a little bit, but that's okay. He'll figure it out. He's got a lot to do. So it's always going to give you a little blurb about what the song is about, what we're going to be learning in the features, what chords we're going to be learning. So you don't even have to be looking at your music. You can just look at the chords and go, oh, okay, I need to figure those out. If you don't know which fingers to use for your chords, refer back to the chord chart that I've been putting on Patreon, and some of you, I'm just scanning it to you. If you don't have a chord chart, please be sure you email me and get one because they're very, very helpful. If you do not give your left hand a choice, don't give your left hand a choice. Your fingers will thank you because it's not about what places are easiest. It's about moving from one chord to another in the easiest way without actually having to look. Because eventually that's the whole idea with chords, is to be able to move comfortably without looking and be able to feel them. And then I will also give you some style setups that might work. Might work meaning that these are ones that I just chose at random to see if they would be pretty good. Some of them are on some instruments and some are on others. So if you see something like harmonic hats and you go, I don't think I have that, well then don't worry about it. Move on to the next one and see if you have that one, because I'm trying to get as many different organs as possible. Then I'm also going to give you some lines so you can fill in your own stuff. The last thing we always want to worry about is what sounds to use. And as normal, the presets will give us the biggest help with sounds. And then after that, you can say, maybe I will try finding the sounds that are listed here and see if I like them. And so it is starting to get you comfortable with pushing the buttons on your instrument. That's what we're all about in level 3. And then just playing the song and having a good time with it, because that's always the end result. All right, so Blue Skies. We are on page 14 today. This is from a musical called Betsy. This It was composed in 1926. Wow, your grandma's listened to this one. By Irving Berlin as a last-minute addition to the Rodgers and Hart musical Betsy. Now, how many of you heard of Betsy? Has any of you seen the musical, heard of it? I hadn't.
I have
I
heard
hadn't.
of it,
Yep.
yes.
The song, here's why. The song was an instant success, even though the show itself only ran for 39 performances and then closed. So it must have been a pretty bad show. In 1927, it became one of the first songs to be featured in a talkie. Al Jolson performed it in The Jazz Singer. So, that's how far back. But good songs like this are timeless, absolutely timeless, because if you read the lyrics, this is all stuff that we can use today just to make ourselves feel better. Blue skies smiling at me. Thank you, Jesus. Absolutely. It's a wonderful thing. Nothing but blue skies do I see. And then the bluebirds. And this is like a feel good song. It's wonderful. So, what are we going to learn from this? Okay, first thing says glissando from note to note. Oh, what's a glissando? Glissandos are little tricks that we can start doing to make our notes sound a little more professional. Instead of just playing, okay, we're going to learn a glissando. Measure 5 is right on line 2, the second measure. You might want to put a little 5 with a circle around it, and that will tell you that's measure 5. And you're going from an E down to a G. Now you can just play it exactly as written, or you can fancy it up a little bit by doing a glissando from the E down to the G. How do we do that? You're going to put your thumb next to you're going to actually be having your pinky on that E. Put your thumb next to it and drag your thumb down to the G. Oh, pretty cool, huh? Yeah. Easy. It's easy stuff that makes you sound like a professional.
Dawn,
So,
how do you spell that word, Cassando?
glissando, it's on the sheet. It's Glissando. Glissando. All the words for things that you do in music, it's all Italian. It's all Italian. It started that way and it stayed that way. So all your stuff is pretty much Italian. A lot of times, most of us would use a glissando going up to end a song. That's what a lot of us do to end a song, and it's fabulous, and it's a great way to start using them. But you can also go from note to note to give it a little bit of movement without actually doing a glide. And we'll talk about glides too. We could do a glide from the first A up to the E, or we could do a glissando if you feel like it. Or you can do a glide. Yeah. So these are just little things that you can do. Now, glides only work on instruments that will glide in real life. It won't work on pianos. It won't work on organs. It won't work on vibraphones. It will work on things like guitars, trombones, clarinets, and a glide is done with your foot switch. You're going to kick it to the left. You're going to hold the note and release your foot. Some of you have glides on your touch bars, especially if you have double touch bar. This one defaults to glide. So all you have to do is touch the touch bar, touch the note, and release. Ah, pretty cool.
Going back to using your thumb, did you use the side, the tip? I couldn't tell how you were doing your thumb.
Well, it depends on what kind of a manicure you have, okay? Because you certainly don't want to pop those nails off if you've got the nails. So some people use the side. I have a tendency to use the nail because that's the strongest part. So I'll just put my thumb here. I usually just use the tip of the nail because that works for me.
Thank you.
Yep. And I've seen people do glissandos with the side of their finger. I've seen people do glissandos with the pointer. I've never been able to be real successful with that unless I'm using the nail. So you just have to practice with it and see what's comfortable for you. But that's what a glissando is. It's running up the keyboard or running down the keyboard. And you just have to remember to stop at the right note because you don't want to pass the note. You don't want to do one of those. Oh, here comes Penny. Let's let her in. These are just little tricks.
Dawn, would you do a gliss going up right instead of left? I mean, going up right.
I didn't, but you can.
I know, but how did you do it with your hand?
Oh,
Go.
if I do blue skies,
If you go up,
all right, then you'd probably want to start with your second finger.
okay.
Okay. Sometimes I'll even put these two fingers together and pretend like I'm holding a guitar pick with these three fingers. And then those two nails, those two ends of my fingers are very strong. And it's like your thumb is pushing those fingers up.
Yep.
Okay, so that works. That works sometimes. Just putting your thumb, backing your two fingers with your thumb, and like you're strumming a guitar or an auto harp, if you remember having one of those. That works sometimes too. So again, different things work for different people. Sometimes just the one finger. Just make sure you stop on the right note.
I noticed Randy does that a lot when he was playing.
Yes. Yep. See, it's funny now because you guys are watching how people play, and that's a good thing. If you watch the artists when they're playing, and you'll see them doing some of these tricks, and you'll go, "Oh, I can do that."
Oh, Joe does it too.
Makes it for fun. Yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, absolutely. Yep. Okay, well, those are the little tricks that we're going to learn. We're also going to do a glissando in measure 29. Well, where's 29? It's basically the same part of the song. It's the second page. 1, 2, 3, 4, line 5. Third measure, nothing but blue skies. And again, it's going from E to G. Now, here's something for you. How do you notate a glissando in your music without actually having to write the word? Any clue?
The little wiggly worm line.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's a little wiggly line. Whoop! And you just go from note to note with a little wiggly line. Don't know if you can see that. There it is.
Yep.
Yeah, just do a little wiggly line, and that way you'll know that's a glissando. So you don't have to write out the word. Little wiggly line. Okay, so those are your techniques, either doing a glide or a glissando. Now, the next thing says features, relative, major, and minor. What the heck is that, and why is it important? How do we know what, usually I'll ask you, what key is this song written in? 99 times out of 100, it is
D.
the last chord, which would be C. Okay? The last chord. In this case, we have a different chord at the beginning. It happens to be a minor chord, and it happens to be a sister of the C. Okay, that's called relative major and minor. Now, what does that mean, actually? Well, I'll explain the theory to you, and then you can take it or leave it, because you don't need to know music theory in this. A C scale, if you talk about a C scale, which you don't need to know, is starting on C and playing every white note up to the next C. That's a C major scale, and there is a mathematical formula for that. Okay, but it's the only major scale that's on all the white keys. It starts on C. Now, an A minor scale starts on A and uses the same white notes, just starting on a different note. Ooh, but it didn't sound like a major scale, did it? No, it's a minor scale, but because it uses the same white keys, they're relatives. It's a relative major and minor scale. Now, here's a little trick. What are the two fingers? Which two notes do we use for an A minor? A and
C.
C. A and C. So it's that second note of the minor that is the major, the relative major scale. So let's try it on a different one. If I have a song starting in D minor, chances are it's going to end with what? A major scale, using the same rule. What's the second note in a D minor chord? Easy play. F, yes, F. So then the major scale would be an F, and you'd have an F at the end of the song. A lot of times there will be songs that start with a minor chord and end with a major chord. Now, what's the difference between this? And then how do I know which one do I use to start my introduction with? Well, here's the wonderful thing. You get to choose. You get to try the introduction with a C and see if it works, and then try the introduction with the sister chord, the A minor, and see if that one works. More times than not, it's going to be that minor chord that's going to make it sound, because you're starting with a mood. You're starting with that somber minor tone, and that's how you want to start the song. Sometimes not. It depends on what the introductions actually bring up for you. Okay, so you try it. You say, okay, now I happen to be on song setup with this particular one. I went to song setup, I went to the Bees, I went to Blue Skies, and it brought me up with Gypsy Rag at 120. And the intro's already on. I'm going to try it starting with a C chord and see what you think, because that's the last chord. Sounded okay, didn't it?
Yes.
It didn't sound bad. So you can't ever go wrong using that last chord. It will sound pretty good. Now let's try it on the minor and see if you like it better. And I'll bet you some people will like this better and some people will like the other one better. And it doesn't matter because they both work. Here's the minor chord for the intro. That sounded good too, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, so it really just depends on which rhythm you're using, what the intros and endings are doing for you, as far as what is it actually doing, and which one do you like the best. So you can write up there intro A minor or intro C. They're both going to work because they are sister chords. So give them both a try and see which one you like the best. And it doesn't really matter. It's whichever one you like. That this is one of those 1 times out of 100 that the last chord is not necessarily the right one. And that's all right. All right. Now let's take a look at chords. Any questions about that before we move on? Nope. Okay, good. Good. And no worries, because we'll repeat this. Every time we have a song that comes up like this, we will repeat it. All right, so let's look at chords. I tried writing them in order. No, I didn't. I think I did the major chords first on this one. D, C, G, and E. You should know how to play all of those. A minor, C, and A. Always play it wide. C and A. Don't play A and C. F minor, F and A flat. Now remember the rules for minors. First of all, it's a 2-fingered chord. It's in a box, so you have to play 2 fingers. And the mathematical rule is the letter plus 3. 1, 2, 3. And then you figure out which fingers are going to work the best, and it's going to be, in this case, pointer on the F and thumb on the A flat, which is the middle key in the set of 3 black keys. You also have a D minor, D and F, 4th finger and pointer. Then you have optional chords. Optional chords are always the 7s. And if you notice, the 7s are always on top of the boxes. That means you don't have to play them because it doesn't mess with the tonality. It just adds some spice to the song. Let's just go to an easy. If we have a G chord, the D chord's the first one, line 2. There's D. Okay, that's a nice solid chord. It's a major chord. The rule is the letter minus 2. So it's C and D. Oh, it's a D chord. It's still a D chord. But now it's a moving chord. It's giving your ear, the ear is saying, oops, I'm waiting to go to the next chord. It's a lead-in chord. It's leading you to the next sound. So that's what sevens do, is they lead you into the next chord. But they're not necessary because the tonality is still a major chord. So a D chord, you could just play fourth finger on D, or do pinky and 4 for the D7. Here's always the analogy I like to say. Whoop, here comes Mr. Tom. The analogy is, okay, here I have a chicken. He's dead, don't worry. Here I have a pot of boiling water, okay? Yeah, it's burning my hand, but that's okay. Now I'm going to take the chicken and I'm going to put him in the boiling water. What do I have? Chicken soup. That's the D chord. You can end the song on that, start the song on that. Now I'm going to take some salt and put it in. I just added some spice, but guess what? It's still chicken soup. It's just a little spicier. And that's what those 7 chords do. The 7s add a little bit of spice and just help your music flow from one chord to the next. Okay? Some of you like the chicken soup idea. Some of you say that has nothing to do with music. But that's okay. All right, so a D7 is C and D, a G7 is F and G, and the E7 is D and E, the letter of the chord -2. Now I'm going to give you some optional additional chords. It says optional additional chords. What does that mean? That means I'm going to add a couple chords for you. These are completely optional. You don't need to even write them in if you don't want them. The first chord is an A minor. Let's go to the next measure. I want you to write A minor major 7. All right, what did I do with my little piece of paper? I lost it already.
Do you want that on that whited in note, half note there?
I want you to write it over that whited in half note. Beat 1 of the second measure. Good heavens, I just had it. It must be, I'll bet you it's on the floor someplace. I'll find it. That's all right. I'll write up a different one. All right, so A minor.
Okay.
A minor is C and A. Then you're going to write in A minor major 7, and it's going to look like that.
Okay.
A little m, capital M-A-J 7. That's an A minor major 7. It's not a major chord, it's a major 7. Those are jazz 7s, jazz 7s. They're not the regular 7s that are the lead-ins. Now, can you skip it? Of course you can. Just play A minor. A minor major 7, you actually have to use 4 fingers for this. And it's going to be C, E, G sharp, and A. C, E, G sharp, and A. So if you're already on C and A, you're just going to add the E and the G sharp in the middle. Okay, got it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the third measure over the word me, that E whole note, now you're going to write A minor 7. This is a very common chord progression. You don't even have to learn it today if you don't feel like it, but it adds movement to the song. Okay, now how do you make an A minor 7? It is a 3-fingered chord. It is C, G, and A. C, G, and A. Okay?
What's that over, Daun?
That one is over the E whole note, measure 3 in line 1, over the word me. So basically what you're looking at is a chord progression that does this. A minor major 7, just add those 2 middle notes. Then you're going to do the A minor 7. Hear how pretty that sounds? It just makes for a nice movement instead of staying on A minor. Okay, that's just a really nice chord progression. If you're not ready to learn it, don't worry about it. Skip it. Just play A minor. It's all right.
Dawn,
Yes.
where do you play the minor major 7? Because
Second
before
measure, the second measure, first
second, but that's
over
on over the smiling.
over the whited in half note.
Oh, but you said the play A major first, and then the A minor major 7.
Nope, you're going to play A minor first, what's written there.
Yeah.
Then you're going to play the A minor major 7, the first beat of the second measure,
Okay.
then the first beat of the third measure, the A minor 7.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
And if you'd only want to play A minor for the whole line, that's fine. That's fine. This is just pushing
Okay.
you just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Just a little bit, that's a song.
Let's go to line 3.
Yeah, we want more spice.
Line 3. The third measure, you have an A minor for bluebirds. Next measure, the fourth measure over that whited in half note. Guess what you're going to put in?
I guess what?
A minor major 7.
Yep.
And then line 4, first measure over the E for the word song, first beat. Guess what you're going to write in now? A minor 7. You're going to do that same progression for bluebirds singing a song. All right, we're going to do that one more time in the song. And it's on the second page, line 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth line. Second measure, you have an A minor, Blue Days. The third measure, over the whited in half note, beat 1. Guess what you're going to put?
A minor.
A minor major 7.
I got lost, Dawn. Say again where you
Okay.
are.
All right, Bev, I'm on the second page, line 4. The second measure says Blue Days, and it has an A minor. The third measure, you have that tied over, whited in half note. The last measure of that line, you're going to put an A minor major 7. And then line 5, the first measure, over the word gone, you're going to write A minor 7.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So you're doing that same chord progression 3 times in the song. 3 times. And it's just adding a little bit of motion so that you're not stuck on that A minor for a couple of measures. That's all that does. The rest of the chords that are there are excellent. Now, if you're struggling, you just work them in pairs. Okay, you've got on the top of the second page F minor C, F minor C. Just work them in pairs until the fingers get comfortable going from one chord to the other. And there's no roadmap in this song, so you don't have to worry about going back to here and going back to the silly sign, none of that stuff. You just play the song. So that's nice and easy. Now, what other rhythms or music styles can we use for Blue Skies? Well, go to Song Setup and see if you have it. If it's not there, you can use the harmonic hats if you have that. Gypsy Rag is good because that's what comes up here. The Freedom 3 Standard Swing Time is good. Or Standard Big Band. Or in the Easies, Standard Full Band, which is Frank and the Count. Okay? Now there's 100 other backgrounds you can use because this is a 4/4 song. And I know it says Foxtrot and Swing. I always say forget about that. But in this case, that happens to be a pretty good suggestion because anything that counts to 4 will work. Now, I'm at 120, but you can go anywhere from about 108 to 120, depending on what the rhythm does for you. So you could just poke something and go, all right, I want to play Foxtrot, I want to play Tap Soft Shoe, and I'm just going to put it down to 120 and see what happens. And see if it works.
Yeah, that's
That works pretty good.
Mhm.
Now, how many measures did I just play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you learn this song in 8 measure sections, it'll be 4 different sections, and 3 of them are going to be the same. So you learn that first 8 measures, you are like 75% done with the song, because it's going to repeat again, and then it's going to repeat again at the end. And the measures in the middle, the ones that don't match anything, that's called the bridge. So if you practice your song in sections, it's going to make your practicing a lot easier. So you don't have to go, oh, that's 2 pages. That's a lot. Yeah, it is. Just do 8 measures and stop. All right, so let's try a different one. I'm going to lock the tempo. Let's just hit a different one. Let's try Champagne, our plain old Champagne Foxtrot. See if that works. Perfect. That works. It's pretty much anything that bounces a little bit because you want it to have kind of a happy, upbeat
Hey,
feeling.
man, I'm in Zoom meeting now. Can't talk. All right. Okay. All right.
Everything on your big band, your foxtrot, your swing. Don't be afraid to jazz it up with anything else that you want. Go to your ragtime. That's going to give you some really nice things. How about a Chaplain Stride? Let's see. Anything that counts to 4 and gives you a little bit of bounce is going to be excellent. So what you're actually doing then is you're experimenting with the different rhythm styles, music styles, and seeing what you have, because it helps you to learn what your organ has. Maybe you never played a Chaplain Stride before. Well, this is a perfect song to try it on. So don't be afraid to try some things. You might want to play it on barbershop. Maybe you never used the barbershop before. Try it and see if it works for you. That works good too. So anything that gives you a little bit of a bounce. Now, notice that when I went from, this is something important, when you go from song setup brought me up with a real nice, not blue suede shoes, blue skies. That's better. Gypsy Rag at 120, but it also gave me a sound here and a sound here that's specific for blue skies. Rhythm preset did not come on, or style setup. None of these came on because song setup never does. It always turns that off and gives you a specific sound for top and bottom keyboard for that song. So now when you start punching other buttons, make sure you turn your rhythm preset or your style setup back on so that it chooses sounds for whatever rhythm you're using. Okay? And that's something we all forget to do. Every single one of us, me included. So you just have to remember, once you go back to choosing music styles from here, make sure your style setup or your rhythm preset is on so that it's going to choose some sounds that'll work well with your song. All right, let's see what else we got here. Okay. The bridge starts at the bottom of the page. Never saw the sun. I'm going to go back to my song setup and just play that part. Ah, that all repeated too, didn't it? So if you
Yes.
learn your bridge in 4 measure sections, that's going to be kind of easy because it repeats. And I will give you fingering on this, and then you can learn these. Take 4 measures out at a time. 4 measures at a time, and slow your tempo down so that your fingers have a chance to catch up. All right, any questions about what we've done so far? Nope, you're good? Okay, let's do some fingering. Get your pencils out, and then we're going to play.
Dawn, could I ask a question?
You
On Chaplain Stride, you went down to the lower keyboard.
Just
Now,
for fun.
Okay, just because you felt like it.
Just for fun. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
That's because it's going to give you two sounds. Try them both. See what you like.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
okay.
Just for fun. Don't forget you've got that lower keyboard.
Yeah, right. It's a good time to get used to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because you're always going to have two sounds, and the bottom one is usually just as good as the top one. But for those of us that started either on a single keyboard or on a double keyboard where you only had one, you didn't have an extra sound down here. We get out of the habit. We never had a habit of going down to the lower keyboard. So a lot of times you have to actually write yourself a note in the music, go to the lower, put a big L if you want to try the lower. Because that way you'll see L. Oh yeah, I'm supposed to put my hand down here. It takes a little bit of repetition and just doing it often enough to get used to going back and forth from the upper keyboard to the lower keyboard and utilizing that sound that you do have on the bottom because it's there for you. You might as well use it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's go to some fingering. All right.
Okay,
A1, E5. Now, if you're doing glissandos, this all goes out the window.
Right.
D4, C3, D4, E5. Second line, D4, C3, D4, E5, G1. And I put the little squiggly line from the E to the G, but you don't have to if you don't want. G1.
Dawn,
Yes.
could you slow down just a bit?
Oh, yes, ma'am, Phyllis. I'm sorry. Okay. Second line. Let's repeat the second line. D4, C3, D4, E5, G1. Squiggly line between the E and the G if you wish. End of the line. G1, A2. Third line, C4, B3, A1, E5. End of the line is D4, C3, D4. Fourth line, E5, D4, C3, D4, E5, G1. Let's go to the next line. G1, A2, C4. Check mark. Now the bridge, there's 100 different ways to do fingering. I'm only going to give you one. So if your fingers feel like doing something different, go ahead and try it, and then you can erase mine and put your own in. Here we go with Never Saw the Sun. C1, D2, E3, F4, G5. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Check mark. Let's go to the top of the page. A flat 3, G2, F1, G2. Check mark. We're just going to be consistent. F3, E2, D1, E2. Check mark. We're starting, you notice we're taking each measure and starting each phrase with our third finger, just to be consistent. Sometimes that makes it easier too. Second line is D3, C2, B1, C2. Check mark. Check mark means we're going to lift our hand and reposition it. C1, D2, E3, F4, G5, right up the line. Check mark. A flat, 3, G2, F1, G2. Check mark. When you're in love, F3, E2, D1, E2. Check mark. Fourth line, D3, C2, B1. Okay, here's a little bit of a tricky spot. You might want to put a little arrow on the C, make it a 3. The B is 2 and the A is 1. E5, D4, C3, D4. Second to the last line, E5. D4, C3, D4, E5, G1, and if you want to do a little squiggly between the two, go ahead. Last line, G1, A2, C4. When you first start practicing chords, I recommend using one of your rhythms and just work the chords. And sing the song in your head, or sing it out loud. But that way you can hear where those chords have to go. And that way you're hearing the chord changes is very important without actually having to play it. If you're next to your instrument right now, I want you to pick a hand. Easy only. I'm going to hit mute all again. So I don't want to hear everybody's because that will distract. Easy only. You may choose left hand only. You may choose right hand only. I'm going to slow this down. We're not going to play it at 120. We're going to play it at 80. It's really slow, but that's okay. I want to make sure you can get this. Okay, if you can do both hands, don't let me hold you back. Go for it. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, rest. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, rest. Two, three, four, one, two. Yeah, that's just a great feel-good song. And especially with that bridge where you've got all those eighth notes, take it apart into 2 measure sections, 1 measure section, and just practice them slowly until it gets comfortable underneath your fingers. And then just start putting everything together. You do not need to do the entire 2 pages together like we just did. Let's play it one more time. If you did, if chords happen to be your problem, I seriously recommend using this time that we play together to just play your chords, because that's going to force you to look at your hand and make sure that you're consistent with where your hand goes. Because I know otherwise practicing chords can be kind of boring. I know that. 1, 2, 3, 4. A minor major, A minor 7. D, F minor, C, D minor, G, C, E, A minor major 7, optional, A minor 7, optional, D, F minor, C, G, C, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, rest. F minor, C, F minor, C, G, C, minor, C, F minor, C, G, E, A minor major 7. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. F minor, C, D minor. Okay. All right. Questions? Irving Berlin writes classic songs. I mean, this is the guy who wrote White Christmas, for Pete's sake. So yeah, this is just a wonderful, feel-good song. It still works today, even though it's way back from 1926. So what a wonderful song to play. If you decide you want to learn one new thing, pick something. Say, today I'm going to learn how to do a 7 chord, or today I'm going to learn how to do a glissando. Okay, so just pick one thing, and you'll be 100% successful. Any
Dawn,
questions?
yes.
Okay, Phyllis, go
Um,
ahead.
I want to back up on something I got lost on. When you said song setup,
Mhm.
it turns off something and you're supposed to
Yes.
put something back on.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain the somethings?
Yes. Song setup, you touch it and you play. Because what it does is it sets up a music style, it chooses sounds, it chooses tempo, but the sounds it chooses are 2. You get one on top, one on bottom. What it did is it turned off the rhythm preset, so that if you decide you want to try a different rhythm or a different music style, you now have to go, okay, I want to play big band, I want to do Frank and the Count, I'm going to slow it down to 120. But now make sure that when you're just working from over here, that you go to rhythm preset or style setup. If you don't press that, you're not going to get the sounds that are perfect for the new music style that you chose. And that happens with every single song setup. Every time you go in and use a song setup, if I go to Blue Moon, it's going to choose a rhythm. Oh, skip the intro. Nice 50s guitar. It also chose something here. A growling sax. It's going to choose 2 sounds that are specific for the song,
Okay.
not necessarily for the rhythm. So if you want to change rhythms or you want to add more sounds, don't just start pushing buttons, because if you just start pushing buttons, you're going to end up with general presets. This is just common. And if I hit number 5, it's going to give me Christmas chimes. No, and that doesn't work. So if you want to go to sounds that will work for that background, the next thing you touch is your style setup or rhythm preset, because what that does
I'll
is
set up a rhythm preset.
changes, yes, it changes all of these to perfect sounds for that rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
your song setup turns it off because it's choosing 2 sounds
I see.
specific to the song.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That's a tough concept for people to get. That's been going on since the beginning of time in the organ world. Any other questions?
Dawn.
Yes.
Well, I was listening in your other class,
Mm-hmm.
like what was that, like Georgia on my mind. I love that one. You mentioned about the embellishments.
Yes.
What are can you incorporate it in this song?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, we did. The glissando is one of those
Aside from the
embellishments.
glissando, like when you repeat like a note, like fast, and I forgot how you call it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you can use all of those embellishments and make this song much harder, but that's the difference. This is I try to keep this class down to a level 3 so I don't scare people away.
Okay.
But if I were to use all the embellishments, let me go back to Blue Skies here. Turn off the intro. I could do all kinds of embellishments. Okay, just different things that you do with your
Yeah.
fingers to make the song even more embellished.
Yeah,
Right
it sounds
now,
like a
at this
pro.
level, I'm thinking that we
It
should.
is a pro.
She is a pro.
No, I'm thinking we should just keep it at
Yeah,
this level. Let's
Yes,
keep it so our hands get the notes and the chords first.
right.
right.
I'll throw
Yeah.
in one or two, like that glissando. That's just, one embellishment. Let's just work
Okay.
on one to get started. But
Right.
yeah,
I was just enjoying listening and having fun with that one.
well, that makes me happy. Good.
Yes.
Because I'm going to push you as far as you want to go. That's my job. That's my job. Just
Yes.
keep pushing you. Now,
Thank
remember,
you.
those of you who don't want to be pushed, you don't have to be. Don't ever feel like you have to do anything extra that I give you. If you get the right rhythm, which is the most important thing, the right rhythm, sometimes song setup is works and sometimes it's not the right one. And you get the right tempo and you know where your hands go to make the song sound pretty, that's it. That's really all you need to do. All of this extra stuff is just pushing us because guess what? It keeps us young. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Brain
Playing
going.
music keeps us young. I'm 125 years old. You didn't know that, did you?
You got to be 125 before you can do a grace note.
No, it keeps us.
You
it
don't
keeps
look
us
like
young.
it.
Uh,
It keeps us young. It keeps us happy. And
Yep.
the more we're training our fingers to do something different and working our
Our
brains,
brains,
that's
that's right.
what keeps us young. That's what keeps us going. There's always something new to learn about music, and that's why I love this hobby. This is just the world's best hobby. You can keep it as simple as you want, or you can take it as far as you want.
It's
Well,
an
Joe,
What
it's
song
an
will you
addicting
doing next
hobby.
week?
Yeah, it keeps us happy. Next week, we're going to do The Lion King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight? We'll just go in
Oh.
order. And I will post on Patreon or have Robert do it because he's the guy who does that. I just sent him the stuff. I'm going to send him the worksheet for today for Blue Skies, and I'm going to send him the worksheet for Can You Feel the Love Tonight so that if you want to print it out and use it while we're having class, you can do that. Okay?
Thank you.
You guys are welcome. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Don.
Yeah,
Thank you, Dawn.
you. Enjoy your day. Stay dry if you're
Thanks,
in Florida.
Dawn.
It's raining a lot.
Thank you, Dawn.
Okay.
Wonderful
Have a nice
weekend.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.